Famcast Media, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Guadalajara, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez, and his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's gift, Tyler Taylor!
Bueno, mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? How's everybody doing today? I wanted to come on here because I saw this interesting question today, and it just baffled me. So the question was posed, is Dirty Dom Mysterio a future world champion? And I thought, man, we got to talk about this because I feel some kind of way about it. So first things first, I want to say Dom has a different start than a lot of indie wrestlers. He clearly has a legend for a father. And I believe what he did is something that I tended to do when I was training. And now I remember one of my trainers, Little Dixie, he told me you can love and respect people and you don't need to follow in their footsteps by doing their work in the ring. And this was an obvious issue that Dirty Dom had in the beginning of his career, because I think what he was doing was he's trying to work lucha, and he's just not a lucha performer. From what we've seen over the past couple of years, dating back to his tag team days with his father, his singles run against Seth Rollins, and ultimately becoming a heel, he's more of a brawler with some technical ability. And he has some know-how in some lucha stuff, but whenever he does lucha stuff, it actually sticks out as subpar. So I think the style he's using now is the perfect style for a guy like him, because he doesn't really have that lucha size that his dad did. Had he trained with somebody like a La Parka or a Psychosis, the taller of the cruiserweights, I believe that he'd be in a better position than he is now. But if we're just going to use what he has, I want to say that he's more of a classic wrestler, like one of those guys you see back in the day, like throwback guys, like a Norman Smiley or even an early Edge. I mean, if you go back and you watch 1998-99 Edge, this was the style he worked. Yeah, Edge was a little more flashy. He did top rope cross bodies and top rope drop kicks and stuff, but it wasn't really fitting into his style. Edge was more of a grounded performer who just used his height and his athletic ability in the wrong way. Obviously, Edge has gone on to become one of the greatest of all time. I've said this on multiple occasions. He is the greatest Canadian wrestler ever. That was not my personal opinion. It was someone convinced me of it, and I completely agreed with it. So, if you remember back with his first run with Seth Rollins, he didn't really show anything else other than just being able to be led in a match. He never really showed that he could do this as the main guy in the ring. He was always going to be that guy that you had to walk through the match, a la Bulldog in the SummerSlam match with Bret Hart, where he needs to be led into a great match. And you can tell he was very uncomfortable in the way he worked. It didn't really fit him. And Joe Rogan has this great quote about Johnny Bones Jones where he says, Johnny Bones Jones is a bad guy trying to be a good guy. And that perfectly encapsulates Dominik Mysterio, because think about it. How night and day is the difference between him now and then. His heel persona is one of the best heel personas we've gotten in the past decade. He is no question, without a shadow of a doubt, the number one heel in the entire wrestling world. Overseas, here in the States, in other promotions. Sorry, MJF fans. Dom is that dude. And I believe since turning heel, he's become a well-rounded performer. I mean, him and Rhea are perfectly paired together. And I don't want to overstate how important it is to have him work with pros. Think about the class of people that have been around Dom since he's been on television. He has had Edge, his father Rey Mysterio. He has Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Seth freaking Rollins. He has had all of these people that are always going to be tacked on to the beginning part of his career. And what WWE did by sending him to NXT to work a more indie style, to get more refined, working guys like Wes Lee or Dragon Lee. That's interesting. A lot of Lees down there. And Mustafa Ali. That's weird. But now that he's in NXT, being able to like refine this stuff in front of a smaller crowd, now he can work on his glaring in-ring issues because, guys, he's not perfect. And it's going to take some time for him to progress as an in-ring performer. What we're seeing right now is just scratching the surface. As Paul Heyman stated in the last scrum, the Bloodline is in the bottom of the third inning of their storyline. Well, I believe that we're in the bottom of the second inning for Dominik Mysterio and the progression of his character and his in-ring ability. And I got to be honest with you, him with Rhea has been the bright spot. Not only do I believe Dom is a future world champion, yep, I said it, that's how I feel. I also feel like him and Rhea will ultimately go down in history as one of wrestling's greatest power couples. You know, he continues to progress organically, and he connects with the audience in a way that we haven't seen in the past couple of years. I mean, at home, if you check social media when he's on, people will not stop commenting, whether it's on Twitter or X, whatever you choose to call it, or Threads or TikTok or Instagram, whatever you fancy. He is always getting massive amounts of attention. There's either people praising him, there's either people, shitting all over him, or there's just people that are indifferent. But either way, he connects with you because you need to hashtag something with Dom. And that's what he's become. I mean, I gotta say, does he have a lot of work to do? Yes, I'm gonna hark on that. Absolutely. But as long as he continues to listen, feel, and learn from each match and learn from the live audience, I believe the sky's the limit. No question. I believe that we're looking at maybe a year and a half tops before he starts headlining PLEs or pay-per-views. I have no issues in people disagreeing with me, but if you're doing it to just sound cool, then what you really sound is like, you sound like a mark who doesn't know what you're talking about. Because Dominik Mysterio is absolutely one of the best in-ring performers, one of the best all-around workers in the business today. And a guy like Dom, if used correctly, he can be very much the second coming of the architect version of Seth Rollins, where he is just so important to the Judgment Day, where possibly creative feels like we need to pull this man from this group, have him betray the rest of them only for Rhea to follow. Because with Rhea as world champ and Dom potentially winning the Rumble, the Money in the Bank, or let's say they go old school, decide to do a battle royal with the winner getting a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity or a WWE Championship opportunity, Dom could be the guy to win those matches. What I would like to see with Dominik Mysterio is I'd like to see some tester things. Here's what I mean. Years ago, WWE used to do these things to test us as the audience to see how we reacted. One of them was having Stone Cold Steve Austin win the Royal Rumble, but not get the WrestleMania match. It was almost like, let's see how the crowd engages. Do we have something here, or is this like a Zack Ryder, where the crowd's really invested now and you guys will just be happy with an IC title run? Or are you going to push for this guy to be a future main eventer? But what I would really enjoy, because WWE has become very recycled, they use a lot of old storylines, a lot of old gimmicks. I'd like to see the match that never happened 2.0. I'd like to see Dom beat the World Heavyweight Champion, whoever it is, win the title, only to be stripped of the title because of a dusty finish. Let's see how the crowd reacts to Dominik Mysterio after he gets his hand raised as the World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Champion. Let's see if the crowd gets excited. Or we can go a much simpler route and have him be the man to dethrone Carmelo Hayes. Either way, I think these are all great options. And this is a long-winded way of me just telling you guys that, yes, I believe Dominik Mysterio is 100% a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion. All right, guys.